G'day guys, it's Tim Guest here. I hope everyone's having a great week so far. First of all, just wanted to send a big thank you to all the messages that I've received regarding the Facebook Live we did on Monday about home ownership and what we taught about home ownership. The topic of this week's conversation is about the biggest barriers that people have actually to reaching their financial goals. And on Monday we did the slideshow on debt and what you really have to pay back and what you really have to earn when you take a mortgage out of $100,000. And funnily enough, like one of the things that came up for me this week, I was reading, as I always do, reading through the articles, and yet again I just saw another article written by some financial expert who, spouting off his advice, someone that doesn't actually know what the hell they're really talking about because they've never actually really done it for themselves. And I guess and you can tell I'm a little bit fired up about this, right? Really what it comes down to is this. Ultimately, the biggest barrier that people have when it comes to reaching their goals, it's not just the personal debt that they have, it's what we're taught about money. I mean, most of us are taught by our parents. We're taught by these so-called financial experts. We're taught by banks. And the reality is that the people that we're listening to and the people that are teaching us the fundamentals about money, they haven't done it themselves. They've got no track record. So, one of the big things I'm always telling my clients is only listen to people who are where you want to be. So, like I said, the things that we get taught about debt are wrong. The way that we get taught to save is wrong. I mean, how we save is like this. You earn your money, you pay your bill. Well, the government takes their money out first, then you got to pay your bills, save what's left over. I mean, that's completely backwards. It's not working for anyone. It never has. What we're talking about home ownership is wrong. What we're taught about property investment is wrong. I mean, 73% of property investors only ever buy one. And that's because of everything they're being taught. They're being taught to buy the wrong things in the wrong areas, utilising the wrong kind of strategies, and they're just unable to expand their portfolios. There's only 1% of property investors that own 6 or more, and it's because of very little known strategies, and this is obviously something that we teach our clients. I mean, many of our clients have multiple investment properties. So, first and foremost, I wasn't really here to kind of promote our workshops, but we have got workshops next week in both Perth and Melbourne. If you want to learn about the things that we get taught, that we believe, that we read, that are all wrong, click on and get into it. But that's not why we're here tonight, guys. So the thing that I want to talk about, I want to continue the subject that we're having on Monday and talking about what we're taught about home ownership. I mean, primarily, once we're stable, earning good incomes, what it comes down to is we're told the best thing you can do with your money is buy and live in your own home. The old great Australian dream, another fantastic marketing campaign from the banks. And of course, they're the ones getting rich, right? So I just wanted to give you some examples of my own personal situation, because the reality is this now, for, the past 22 years or something like that, I've rented. Okay, and I rent still today. I'm actually in my home here tonight, and I rent this place, right? So just to give you some figures so that you can kind of start to get your head around why I might do that. Why would I pay someone else's mortgage, so to speak? Okay, I'm not going to talk about the house I'm in right now. It's a little bit more complex. However, the house that I used to live in, which was a single-story, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in the Princeton estate in Stirling, and that was $1 million house. Now, if I owned that house, if I bought that house just in interest alone, not paying off the mortgage at all, just paying the interest, plus the rates, plus the maintenance, plus the insurance, would have cost me $70,000 a year. Okay? Now, I rented that house. Okay, so it didn't have those costs, someone else was paying those costs, and I paid fair market value rent for that house, which was $600 a week, which equates to $30,000 a year. Okay, so straight up, without me doing any complicated, utilizing tax, all that kind of stuff, without going through any of that detail, you can straight away see that I was $40,000 a year better off. Now, of course, the question is what do you think I did with that $40,000? Of course, I invested it. Now, $40,000, man, you could service probably 4 to 5 investment properties with $40,000 each year. I'm talking $500,000 properties. So rather than just living and owning in $1 million house, you could have $2 to $2.5 million worth of assets working for you. So, I mean, that's just one example of the flawed thinking about home ownership. Now, of course, I'm not necessarily saying that you should move out of your house if you've got your own home. One of the things that this relies on is having pretty much being mortgaged up. So we're talking about a first home buyer going in, buying their first house, and of course, basically the mortgage, they've got to borrow all that money to own the home. Okay, now of course, if you've got a mortgage that's already half paid off, these figures start to flip, and it's not necessarily better to rent. But, primarily what I want to talk to you guys about is we're talking about first homeowners and the things that we were taught when it comes to owning your own home. So, look, as you can tell, pretty fired up, pretty agitated. I hope everyone's got a really great weekend. If you've listened this far through, please, love to hear your comments. Send us your messages. We've been getting heaps of those. Share the video around for other people to see. Send us your love, your likes, your angries, and let me know what you want me to talk about next week, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.